In less than a year, Windows 10, probably the most popular version of Windows, will enter its end-of-life period. All PCs powered by Windows 10 will continue to work, but soon there will be no software updates, no GPU drivers, and no security fixes. If you use Windows 10, you basically have three options. Ignore it on your own risk, upgrade to Windows 11, or switch to Linux. Let's get a closer look at each of these options. If you would choose to ignore it, how long Windows 10 will stay relevant? Well, judging by Windows 8.1, from couple of months to couple of years. Mainstream support of Windows 8.1 has ended in the beginning of 2018. Somewhere around that time, AMD stopped releasing new GPU drivers for Windows 8.1. First DirectX 12 exclusives began popping up as early as 2019, and Nvidia has dropped Windows 8.1 support in October 2021, so you can expect something like that happening with Windows 10. The end is nigh. You can try upgrading to Windows 11, but the thing is, for some reason, not every PC is eligible for the upgrade. It seems that Microsoft is busy boosting sales of its brand new Copilot Plus PC lineup. And if you have an older hardware, you probably won't be getting a current version of Windows. Now, some people claim that you still can install Windows 11 on the older hardware, but me personally, I would like to discourage you from giving your time and money to a company that explicitly doesn't want to provide its services to you. Why bothering at all if you need to do some tricks to bypass restrictions and then do a mental gymnastics to justify why the trillion-dollar company is acting like that? Now, instead of staying on Windows, you can try switching to Linux, and let's be honest, that's the actual reason why I'm making this video. What is Linux? Well, long story short, Linux is a free and open source operating system that allows you to do whatever you want with your personal computer. It's lightweight, it's powerful, and it respects your privacy. If you are new on this channel and if you have never used Linux before, it's worth mentioning that Linux is not a direct alternative to Windows 11. It's a worthy competitor, it is what I use on my production machine, but it's way different. Linux uses a different file tree hierarchy, package management system is less limited, and many Linux distributions or distros specifically prefer to do things differently than Microsoft. You'd have to learn how to use a terminal and in general get yourself ready to overcome plenty of technical challenges. Linux is all about customization and DIY philosophy, and with great power comes great responsibility. Your Linux system is going to be as stable as you want it to be, and from now on, you are the only one who's responsible for maintaining your own PC. Switching to Linux won't be difficult for you, I promise, but it also wouldn't be a walk in the park. On the one hand, if you've never used Linux before, the prospect of learning a completely new operating system right now probably sounds daunting to you, and you may perceive Windows 11 as a more familiar and preferred pathway to the future. On the other hand, by saying yes to Windows 11, you're also saying yes to watching a ton of ads, as well as getting your personal data being collected and used by Microsoft. You are also saying yes to outdated and inconsistent user experience with multiple layers of legacy UI buried beneath the system. At the same time, Linux desktop environments and window managers are already in another league. KDE Plasma is highly customizable, Cinnamon looks modern and slick, Pantheon is clean and intuitive, and GNOME, which is actually my favorite, has a huge emphasis on simplicity and consistency. And when I'm saying consistency, I'm not using this word frivolously. Every single GNOME app, from settings to music player to exercise timer, follow the same design principles, with the same navigation menus, theming, spacing, and even mouse and touchpad behavior. Such a level of consistency is way better than what people have on Windows, and it also looks good. Just look at these sweet gesture animations, look at that tiny workspace switcher, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous. And if you don't like the default look of GNOME or Cinnamon or KDE, you can actually turn them into whatever you want, including older versions of macOS or even Windows XP. Now, some of you may reject the idea of switching to Linux by saying that it isn't intuitive, or it has a steep learning curve, or something like that. But remind yourself how many hours you've actually spent learning Windows and adapting to it. You probably were surrounded by Windows computers since your childhood, and switching to Linux will only take you months, or if you're a tech-savvy person, weeks until you get used to everything. But once you try a lightweight and efficient OS, there's no going back. Software support on Linux today is better than ever. It's not perfect, but me personally, I have all the tools I need to use Linux on my desktop PC, both for professional work and my own entertainment, including gaming. Speaking of gaming, you've probably heard about Steam Deck, wonderful tiny little handheld that works on SteamOS 3.0, which is based on Arch by the way. Hands down, it's the most popular gaming device on Linux right now, and if something works on Steam Deck, it should also work on Linux desktop. Yes, you still can't play Warzone or Fortnite on Linux, or any other popular online game that features intrusive anti-cheat system, but single-player titles? Hell yeah! Just think of any AAA title with a single-player campaign that you've enjoyed playing last couple of months. From Indiana Jones to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, they all work on Linux. There are more than 17,000 playable titles on the platform, and if you are not sure if a certain game is supported or not, I suggest you to check Proton database. There's no lack of video editors on Linux also. In fact, every video you see on this channel has been edited, processed and color graded on Linux. While in terms of photo editing, things are a bit grim. There's no Adobe Suite alternatives on Linux that can't compete with Photoshop feature to feature. But still we have GIMP, Krita, Raw Therapy and Darktable. So if you are a photographer or a digital artist, you may need to adapt your creative pipeline to these free alternatives, which might be tough, but in the end you'll find yourself surrounded completely by free and open source apps, which will cost you nothing. Again, if you've never used Linux before, I suggest you to start with a beginner-friendly distros like Linux Mint or PubOS. Other distros like Fedora, OpenSUSE or Arch are totally fine. In fact, I'm using Arch by the way. But these two are the best if you just need to dip your toes in Linux. Like both Mint and PubOS are well-known, well-maintained distros. Both of them come with all essential packages pre-installed like drivers, system utilities, media players and Office alternatives. And both of them still offer that sweet taste of freedom by allowing you to do whatever you want with your personal computer. By the way, switching to Linux is easy. You just need to pick a Linux distribution, which we just did, back up all your important data and then make a bootable USB. Actually, you don't need to install Linux immediately. Vast majority of user-friendly distros come with live demo mode, so you can test and try everything out of a USB before actually installing the system. From now on, you can install Linux with a couple of clicks and enjoy your journey into the realm of free and open source operating systems. Don't be afraid of making mistakes and don't be afraid of breaking things. Just remember, it's Linux, it's meant to be fun. This was Reluctant Anarchist and I have nothing left to say.